It's that time of year. We're at the 2024 Farm Progress Show. Just got here this morning, got rained on. It's supposed to be 96 degrees. We're all going to have a good time. It's going to be miserably hot, but we'll still have a good time. Just driving around here. Not very busy yet this morning. I'd say the heat and the rain will make it a little slow start for attendance. It's alright, you can get around pretty easy right now. So one of the first places I wanted to stop today at the Farm Progress was at the Massey Ferguson booth to check out a tractor. It looks a little familiar. I think, is this the same one? Same one I ran?
Same one.
Okay, so I actually got a chance to run this. This is the release day of a 9S 425. So Derek, you mind telling us a little bit about the machine here?
Yeah, so the 9S is kind of the next generation large frame tractor for Massey Ferguson. You know, we're really excited to deliver a tractor here that answers a lot of farmers' challenges. When we think about fluid efficiency, we think about dependability, we think about field-proven technology. There's a lot of opportunities on our farms today that we can really maximize sort of the investment that you guys make in equipment.
So what size horsepower ranges does the 9 Series come in?
Yeah, so the 9S comes from 310 maximum horsepower all the way up to 425. So
okay,
quite a bit of range in terms of horsepower options. And then as far as hydraulics go, like you ran with the planter,
yep.
We have 54 gallons at 1650 RPM, and we go up to 90 gallon minute flow at 1650 RPM as well. So,
okay. So does this take the place of the 87 series then?
Yes, so the predecessor to the 9S would be the 87S
yep.
series of tractors. So the 9S is kind of completing our path of the Sabre design, really introducing that Protect You cab that we introduced with our 8S. So you guys had an opportunity to operate the 8S and kind of actually see the 8S when we launched it back in 21. So bringing that intuitive design and optimizing visibility for our operators, making it easy for folks to be trained on how to operate our tractor, and then ultimately delivering better fluid efficiencies for our farmers.
Okay, so now with the launch of this machine then, with all the Massey, basically it's the same operating system with all Massey tractors at this point,
Yeah,
isn't
that's
it?
right. So this Protect You cab design delivers the multi-pad that even on the 5S that you operated on, same exact sort of operator interface and sort of intuitive design, right? So if you run a 5S with the multi-pad and you get in a 9S with them, it's the same armrest, controls are all the same, really making it simple for farmers to get in and out of tractors and operate in the same way.
Okay. Well, the first retail year for this tractor then, will it be the 2025 season, or are they available for order now?
Nope, that's right. So in January of 25, we'll have a select few dealers throughout North America able to order. The rest of our dealers will be able to order quarter one of 2025. And so looking for probably around fall delivery will be our first customers operating. So spring of 26 will be our first chance to get operators purchasing 9S tractors to actually be planting new product.
Okay, gotcha. Pretty exciting stuff. Well, I appreciate your time. I'm going to check out the inside of the cab.
No, it sounds great. Yeah, we're excited to bring this solution to our farmers, and excited to go on farms and prove how we can deliver a better cost per hour.
All right, sounds good.
Thanks.
So I did get the chance to run this tractor, pulling this planter this spring. First time I've seen it in a little while. I spilled a Pepsi right there, and looks like they got everything up. That's pretty good. But anyways, we're going to keep looking on the show. So here we've got the new Gleaner. At some point we'll interview somebody about that, but there's a little bit of a line over there, so we'll wait. You want him to take you for a ride?
Yeah. There's a tractor. Don't have tractor.
It's like your mom.
You haven't seen the 700 horsepower tractor ever, the 800 horse? That's it. Pretty massive. 830 horsepower. Do what?
D8 can take it.
So a little bit about Farm Progress Show. It's a large outdoor show. It's a national size show. There's a lot of regional farm shows around the country. Like we have one called the Farm Science Institute in Ohio. This is more of a national show in that most of the time you're not seeing dealers out here. You're seeing companies having booths on display. And yeah, this is kind of a pretty good sized show. Has field demos and all that good stuff. We usually come to this every year. So always like coming to stuff like this. When the market's this bad, it's kind of depressing. You're just looking at stuff and the only thing you're going to buy is a sandwich. But it is pretty fun to come and see some of the latest and greatest in agriculture. $60,000 Ranger. I got a Craftsman pole saw. Dad recently went on a trail ride side by side for the first time, and now he's got the bug pretty hard, so he's got to look at every side by side here. I don't know why, because we're definitely not buying any of them, but he's got to look at all of them. Seen a lot of crop dusters, but I've never been up close to one. Huh. Even got air conditioning. So for all the folks that say the inside of a tractor looks like an airplane, not even close. I don't have near that many buttons. Seat's way better too. First time I've got to check out an FD2 MacDon up close. Notice that the guards are quite a bit longer than a previous MacDon. So the 60 series combines just came out this year, so I'm going to track someone down and we're going to see what the difference between like an 8260 and an 8250, what those differences are, because I don't know. I'd like to know. So here with Ryan Lepp from Case IH, and Ryan, do you mind telling me some of the differences between the new 60 series combine versus the previous model?
You bet. The 260 series has displays. Has two new displays. So before we just had the Pro 700, what we called, and there's one display. And now we've come with two displays. So the lower one is going to have all your machine functions, your settings. The second display can have your guidance, your cameras, your yield maps. So it makes it a lot nicer for the operator to be able to just look up and see where I am on the yield. And you can switch, flip-flop between the screens, whatever you want to see, whether it's the yield on the lower one or the yield up on the top one. So you can do either one. That's a nice feature to have that. And it's a nice bigger display, 12-inch display. It's got the technology like your phones do. You can swipe and pinch and
so this would be the Pro 1200 then?
On the 1200, yep.
Okay.
Pro 1200 is able to have that capability to do that. So a lot of nice features in that display. The diagnostics on there is amazing. Go through and look at, you can pretty much throw away the multimeter when if you're checking for electrical connections and voltage. You can go on the display and look at the voltage of any sensor on the combine and see that through the displays. And so it's kind of a diagnostic tool. But not only that, but you can do the remote service tool. You can also do the remote view in. So if you were in your car and you downloaded what we call the Field Ops app into your phone or your iPad, you can pull that up and you can see the machine, and you can request, hey, I want a remote view, which means, hey, ask the operator, can I go in and view what you're seeing on your screen to see, hey, I want to see what the settings are, I want to see if the fuel is or def. So then you can see all that from your phone or your tablet.
So is that all done through a data plan then? Or I mean, I'm guessing there's some kind of fee associated with that or something.
No, so when you buy a 260 series, that's all integrated.
Okay.
So that's all integrated from the factory. You get row guidance, you get, which is a nice feature to follow the row in the corn. you get AccuSync, which then you can combine. If you have multiple machines in the field, you can combine several machines and link them together so that the data and the guidance all talks to each other.
Okay, and that's not a subscription or anything?
No.
That is nice. That is very nice.
Yep, that's a factory, so that comes standard from the factory. You know, the machine comes into a dealership, the dealership registers your name and gets it activated, and you're good to go.
So say the second owner buys that combine, is that something that they would have to have activated in their name at that point then, or?
The dealer would activate it for their name. The hardware of these components, you know, that's subscription free for the life of the hardware.
Okay.
So that's, yeah, I mean, it just basically would mean registering to the new name to the new owner if he trades it in.
Okay, that's very customer friendly. I like that. Is anything else in the back of the machine changed, or is pretty much the guts of the combine?
Yeah, the guts of the combine is pretty much the same. The sieves, the rotor hasn't changed. It really comes down to the technology.
Okay.
Technology is where it's changed, and we come with new receiver on the cup of the cab. It's going to be a little more accurate. There's a new steering valve. There's
same grain tank sizes.
Grain tank size is going to be the same. The unload rate. Yes.
Okay. All right. Well, I appreciate the time.
Okay.
Thanks.
Thank you much.
About got to check out the Deere booth while we're here. This is a X9 1100s. This is Deere's biggest combine. I gotta say, the case looks bigger. I'm looking at, you know, looking at the rotors, the clean grain elevator. The case is just big.
That's right. On Price is Right, you're bummed out.
I've heard from people running these, they have impressive capacity as well. So the biggest, newest thing on the Deere lot would be this four-wheel drive 830 John Deere. So I did a video about that at Commodity Classics. So check the channel about first part of March. There should be a video on that tractor there. So I'm sure some of you heard me talking about in previous videos how dry our crop conditions are. It's kind of got me interested in looking at a 360 rain. Looking at a 360 rain, it's basically a self-contained irrigation unit. I guess I'd like to see some of the figures on one of those, what those cost per acre. Seems kind of ironic that it's raining over there as we're looking at the 360 rain. Basically, this thing will go back and forth through your field with making a tram line. I think each one can do 160 acres. So I'm here with Tim Sauter of Yield 360, and Tim was just telling me a little bit about the 360 rain. Tim, you want to give us a brief overview of this machine? It's kind of my understanding it's basically a portable irrigation machine.
Yeah, that's right. It's a 3,000 foot hose system. We run a 3-inch hose, and we can apply up to 200 gallon a minute with this machine. We're following basically wherever the planter goes. So we record where the passes are with the planter. Our team goes ahead and builds paths for the machine to follow from that point, and then we're just following right down the row. And we've got different styles of drops. You can see we're banding water here, like you'd see on more of a cover crop, a wheat kind of situation, or a hay type crop. And then on the other side, we're showing our banding drops that we use with either corn, soybeans, any of our row crops.
Basically, like a wide drop kind of.
More of a wide drop style. Yep, that's really a lot of the inspiration for the machine was what we've seen with the wide drop system, and the advantage of being able to band water, band nutrients has really taught us a lot about the potential of what we're doing with the 360 rain system, really being efficient with where we're applying that investment we're making into the crop. So banding right at the base of the corn plant really helps us boost that efficiency. And in the case of water, well, we're not actually going out and spreading it across the whole canopy, so we're going to see less of that evaporative loss from either droplets or just covering the leaves of the plant itself. So we really like that from the standpoint of trying to keep the disease low in a crop, you know, not wetting that whole plant down from constant irrigation, as well as just keeping the evapotranspiration running. You know, by putting that at the base, we're keeping that plant running through the day while we're coming through and adding what it needs.
Okay.
So.
Okay. Now, how much water? I guess I don't know how irrigation units are rated, but I've heard people that I know have them talking about water per week, as far as inches they can put down.
Yep.
What is one of these rated at?
Our system runs, so our flow rate's in that 200 gallon range per minute. So if you work up math out on what that looks like, if you run this machine on say 160, in about 7 days it works out to right around a ½ inch that we apply per week. So our focus is mostly on trying to go into areas where supplemental irrigation is going to make a big difference. So in a case of where a lot of irrigation is done today, they're going to run more water per week than that. But our focus is going into the Midwest or into a lot of areas where Ohio and Minnesota, soils like that, Michigan and all those sorts of places where we come in and add 4-6 inches through the growing season, and we're seeing a real yield bump to doing that. There's a couple week periods where it dries off, and the heat goes up. You can add a lot of yield by supplementing in those periods.
Right, and you were also telling me you have the ability to also supplement in nitrogen and manure. Is that right?
Absolutely, and that's really a big factor with this machine of thinking about what does that crop need, each week of the growing season, and being able to make sure we're supplying and staying in control of what those inputs are. So a lot of guys are running either nitrogen injected or other types of fertility injected through the water system. And with the kind of volume of water we're bringing right there at the base of the plant, getting that to infiltrate right into the ground, getting that available to the root system quickly is one of the big advantages. But then manure on top of that is a huge win for us. You look at what it costs to get manure applied in the fall or in the spring compared to putting it on with the rain machine, we're much cheaper. Plus you get the advantage of that nitrogen right there in the growing season when you're going to use it.
Yeah, awesome. So like in your setup here at the show, like this is basically representing our wellhead, correct?
Right, yes. So could have a number of water sources, but could be a well primarily.
In this case, a nurse tank.
Yep, nurse tank, yep. Surface water from creeks, ponds, lagoons. So we'll sell a combination of pumps for any given site. So we'll work with you to say, okay, what's your best water source? Maybe it's a creek that's nearby. In most cases, it's going to be a well for water. But then, as I mentioned, applying manure, one of the things we're doing is setting up pump skids for guys where we're coming in and saying, here's the combination for the booster pump and the flow meters, the valves, sensors, everything that comes together that's all integrated back into the software. So when we're running a rain machine with the app, all that combination comes together. You can basically set one target rate and it does everything else for you. We take over running all the VFDs, getting the rates right, and controlling it from there.
Okay, so the other option would just be having your own pumping system, diesel generator, something along those lines.
Yep, and guys definitely do that. In some cases, they're going to set up their own system, but we're trying to make it easy.
This is just a turnkey setup,
basically integrate everything together and understanding what your site is and how to best set it up so that we have it the most efficient way.
Okay, gotcha. And this is where your nitrogen injection, is that where this would take place then?
Yep, so like the pump you see here on the gray base or the tan base there is a nitrogen pump injecting in. So this setup is a combination. It could both do nitrogen or manure, supplied and mixed in with a water source, and being able to blend all those and hit a target rate of what you want that mix to be at any given time, and matching that rate up is what our software will do for us.
Okay. All right, Tim. Well, I appreciate the information. We just happen to be in a little bit of a drought right now, so I've seen that. I was like, this seems like a fitting place to stop.
Right place to stop, so appreciate it.
So if you were wondering, I asked. It's about $215,000 for that machine to irrigate 160 to 200 acres, depending on how your field's laid out. And it would have made all the difference on that 160, not the whole farm. That machine is basically designed to stay at that field and not be, moved to each field. Because when I put on a ½ inch of rain a week, you need to keep that thing running every week. Day 2 of farm progress. Day 1 was a scorcher, 96 degrees or something like that. But anyways, getting started today. Tried to talk to some people I didn't get a chance to talk to yesterday. So finally tracked down Aaron Beyer from Gleaner. Aaron, see that the Gleaner's got a facelift and a few other different features.
That's absolutely right.
You mind telling us what some of those are?
I am absolutely ecstatic to bring this machine out in front of everybody, because we've been working on it for a few years now, and it's always tough to keep a secret, especially with me, where I'm getting so excited about talking about this stuff. And the T series is really it's a payoff for folks that have been waiting around for a while, right? We've been talking to folks, and they want to see an updated styling. They want to see something different from Gleaner combines. Really, the last time we had any kind of major facelift update to the machine was 2016.
Yeah.
So being able to do this now, farm progress this year, it just gets you going, because it really is exciting to really talk about Gleaner combine. I love to do it every day that I can. Yeah. So having something new to bring to people, and not only just the facelift, of bring features that guys use, and when you talk to them about it, you can see how much they really appreciate it. and how excited they get about the product too.
Okay. Well, what are some of the features?
Well, the first one is, and that's probably the one that people notice first, is the updated styling with it. But with everything like Gleaner, there's nothing superficial to the machine. Everything that we do with it has to bring some level of value to the customer. So the shielding, we call it the maximum access shielding. And the reason we do that is because everything that we've done on it is try to increase the amount of access customers, farmers have with the product to be able to get to those critical components faster, whether it's for maintenance, service, cleaning at the end of the day, or if a failure occurs, that they can repair that failure quicker,
Yep.
get them back into the field, because the name of the game is productivity. If my wheels aren't turning, I ain't earned.
Yep.
So the faster we can get you back in the field and operating again and doing it as simply as possible, that is truly what's important to us, and trying to bring that value to farmers and be able to get them in the field so they can be productive, make margin, even no problem.
Okay.
So that's the big one. And really, the left-hand door is where it really gets exciting. And that's where, when we did the launch a couple of weeks ago, of course, when I drive the combine onto the turntable, I see everybody's experiencing life through phones, right? They're all
Right,
with their phones up. And I get a little nervous because nobody's like really reacting until we turn to that left-hand side and they open up the barn door, which is the whole left-hand side of the machine, more or less. And then the whole crowd erupts. Of course, these are dealers that work on these machines day in, day out. And that level of access makes their job easier, gets them their job done faster, and get their customers helped faster.
Yep.
And that's what these guys, our Gleaner dealers, are the greatest, because there's a family that surrounds them, and that's their farmers, their customers that really depend on them. And when they can bring out and help those folks, help their family, their friends, that's the best feeling in the world.
Yeah.
And I'm glad we can bring that to them and really help them out.
Yeah. As far as horsepower though, and thresher, everything,
Right.
all that's still
All of that's the same, because again, kind of the mantra for Gleaner has always been improvements on a proven platform, and that's the natural flow processor. We wanted to really kind of focus on, the shielding, and the other one we'll talk about here in a second is the ground drive. Very similar to what we did in 2016 with the S9. We focused on the electrical architecture and the cab to make that environment and it's better inside the cab, and then the electrical architecture more adaptable, more of an open platform, and make it more reliable as well. On the T series, we will focus really on that ground drive, making that experience better and making it more valuable to customers, and then also making that shielding, making sure everything's correct with that.
Okay.
Because we don't like making giant jumps in technology or designs, because then it creates opportunity for maybe some reliability issues because it's a new product.
Yeah.
And we like to pinpoint laser focus on stuff to be able to make sure that we get it right, get it correct, so our customers, again, can rely on that reliability that we bring them day in, day out.
Okay. Cab and everything, as far as that's staying the same?
Same cab. The biggest difference, like I said, on that DuraDrive ground drive system, and we can dovetail into that, and there's a lot of stuff that we bring with that. So again, the ground drive is different. We have an updated final drives, updated transmission, but ultimately at the end of the day, and that's again to help the reliability, improve the reliability, make more rugged components. But again, it's the value of the operation. The ground drive system, so the big change in the cab you'll notice is the handle. I hope you get in the cab and kind of feel that. It's very similar to our Massey tractors, and that's the CVT style handle now, rather than.
Does it return to center?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, and it really makes a common operator experience with the Masseys. And to be completely honest, very similar to your Fendt combine as well.
Yep.
So we want to give that environment, that experience, to be as consistent as possible across the whole of the platform. So that brings that. But in addition to that, it also brings the higher resolution of speed control. Because one of the things, I'm sure you probably were used to it as well on your S9, is that you'd move the handle, and then the machine would move and kind of lurch a little bit when you were trying to hook up or disconnect from a header.
Yep.
Made it made the process a little longer.
Could be, yep.
And a little tougher. So now with the CVT style handle, we have a higher resolution of speed. We can creep, just very similar to what you're
saying.
Let's say
on our machine, there's a creep mode for hooking up the head, and I think you're only...
See, and we don't even have the creep mode for the simple fact, the way I usually do it when I'm unhooking and hooking heads, I'll move the handle without using the little toggle button on the bottom. And then I'll use the toggle button as almost an incremental increase.
Oh, just tapping that button.
Tap it. And then I can go 0.2 mile an hour, a little faster, and that way it makes that whole process easier on incrementally changing speed and hooking up headers, and that makes the whole process faster, in the field faster, more productivity.
Okay.
So yeah, but that's really one. If you guys get an opportunity to drive one of those, which it changes the experience on how you really handle and control the machine, and it gives that control that really makes you feel comfortable and confident when you're operating the machine.
Okay. All right. I'll have to go check that out now.
Cool. Yeah, please do. I mean, and again, it's a great experience. It's a great machine, and I'm truly excited to really talk again, show my secrets now. I can tell people that I've been working on for the past 2 years, and really share what our engineers have been working on, because I really truly believe that we are one of the closest connected OEM brands to our operators, to the farmers, the people that we try to help.
Yeah.
And we use the input. I mean, you and I had long conversations a long time about the S9 and what ways we can improve it, and that's the thing that I pride the most about working here, is that being able to have that one-on-one contact with our operators, our farmers, and bringing them things that they use and they value.
Yeah. I know as one of those operators, it was always nice to be able to talk with someone who has some influence in the design of a product, and
I ultimately think it makes me better as far as helping you folks out and making sure that what we're doing is the right direction. So we don't. You always have to have that lodestar, that North Star of what you're trying to drive to, and if it's helping the customer, that's always what's given me the most pride and most satisfaction, is when I get somebody that understands, and I can help them make their job a little easier, a little better, bring a little joy to harvest.
Yeah.
That's the payoff that I'm always looking for, and I think that everybody at Massey Ferguson Gleaner is really looking for as well.
Okay.
So.
All right, Aaron. Well, I appreciate it.
It's good seeing you, man.
Yep, you too. Kind of interesting. AGCO's really trying to lean into a on-farm solution for service, parts, and sales. So basically, people coming to your farm. So you go into a dealership. When you're in our situation, you just lost your dealer. Pretty nice to hear they're at least trying to fill in some solutions. So we have a lot of GSI products on our farm, and well, GSI was just acquired by another company, so I step in there and see what's going on, and also try to remember how to use some of the functions on our grain view. We do have grain view on one of our bins, and I'm a little rusty on it. Walk into the precision tent here. The planter we ran last year was precision based, and really enjoyed their products. So see if they got anything new. So I keep seeing PTx everywhere. A lot of marketing money being spent there. I believe that is because AGCO bought Trimble, and Precision is already owned by AGCO. So I think that's how they're integrating those together, basically giving Precision a steering solution, maybe. So I'm here with Bryce from Precision Planting, and Bryce, one thing I had noticed was there's a lot of PTx logos, and every time I've came here before, it just said Precision Planting. So do you mind giving us a little bit of insight on what that is, or what we have going on?
Yeah, what is PTx? So PTx, as you see, is a new brand as of April that is the Precision Ag brand for AGCO. So retrofits, equipment, and OEM installs with AGCO equipment as well as other partners. So PTx is this new umbrella brand that has two product brands under it. So the first is Precision Planting with a new logo.
Yep.
And then the second one is also back in April, Trimble and AGCO formed a joint venture. And that joint venture is essentially Trimble Ag, so what you've known as Trimble in the past for guidance and controls and those type of things, as well as JCA, which was a company that's doing autonomy work that AGCO acquired a few years ago. So that joint venture company is called PTx Trimble. All right, so then you got the umbrella brand PTx, and then two kind of sister brands for products, PTx Trimble and Precision Planting. And so here at the Farm Progress Show, like folks are coming into the PTx booth, like, well, what is it? Essentially, it's Trimble products, or now PTx Trimble products, and Precision Planting products commingled in the same booth. So, yeah, it's just combining of those two things is where we're at this point.
Okay, so is anyone that was a Precision dealer before, are they now a PTx dealer, able to sell, I guess, on the Trimble side of things and the Precision side of things, or is that completely separate?
Yeah, so all this came about in April, so we're 4 months in. So as of now, Precision Planting dealers are Precision Planting dealers. Trimble Ag dealers or PTx Trimble dealers. So that's current state. You know, as the business moves forward, obviously there would be a goal that there are more dealers selling both.
Okay.
So that's not the case today if they weren't before. Okay. It's the same, but I would say if you look down the road, there's opportunities for more dealers to sell both product lines.
Okay. All right, well, I appreciate you clearing that up.
All right.
Thanks. So check out this thing. Noticed it yesterday driving around with Dad. Said this has got to be Brazilian, and sure enough, he stopped and talked to him, and pretty positive it is from Brazil. I've never seen a mid-mounted boom, ever. Very orange. Not a lot of buttons at all. Where's the buttons? There's no buttons. So a very different cab. Not a lot going on. This cab kind of reminds me of a Kloss cab a little bit, but without all the buttons. Very, very simple. Like, kind of crude, maybe. Huh. Kind of interesting. Talking to the rep, basically the purpose of that mid-mount boom is to keep the boom more stable because you're more in the center of the machine. So, I don't know. It's not a super simple machine. There's just not many controls in the cab, it appears. That machine does have the ability to telescope up and down depending on crop heights. That's kind of neat. I haven't been out to the field demos in a long time, so figure we'd take a little spin. So one thing about this show, they always have field demos. Usually this corn is extremely high moisture because it's not really time to harvest yet. I've been told before they plant like an 85-day corn, which is a really short season for this area, just trying to keep that corn, you know, harvestable. There's been seasons where it's just been too wet for them to harvest 40%. This stuff looks to be in good shape for harvest. Looks like some good dirt. We don't have that. Nothing like that. Very black dirt. So we're getting ready to do the combine demos. So basically everyone comes out and lines up and makes a pass down and back, and you can go check out their losses and see what the quality of job that each machine did. Pretty cool seeing this many combines lined up. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 13's coming. 13 machines. They get much more. I'm going to take off my boots, start counting. Now they also have different style heads. You can see how each head is doing. So for example, there's a Calmer corn head. I think there's a gearing off or something, or a Drago on one of those up there. So lots of different things. And then after they harvest this later in the day, there'll be a tillage demo. So here's where the tillage demos were yesterday. So lots of stuff you can see firsthand working in fields. One thing to keep in mind though, these machines are probably being set for this corn. I mean, it's not like they're just diving in cold, and every little trick and trade craft that someone can do this machine to make it run better for this 1 acre is probably being done because, well, everyone's going to pick over their results like with a fine-tooth comb. Now we can walk up and see a little bit closer. So each combine will run and they'll move the barrier so you can see how the machine did. Something pretty neat going on that cab of that tractor. I don't know if you can notice in this video, but there's no one sitting in it. That combine is running the tractor. Pretty neat. I don't think we're quite there yet. I don't want to go autonomous, but it's pretty neat seeing that thing work. I'm sure there's a lot of limitations with it at the moment, but I'd say that might be the future one day. I don't know. To be honest, it's a future I'm not looking forward to. So I'm in a Fendt 516, and as some of you know that watch the channel, we've got an Ideal with Ideal Drive, and this has something similar. Is this, I don't know, what's this called?
Yeah, this is Ergo Steer.
Ergo Steer.
Yep, it's in a 500 right now, but you could put it in anything from a 500 all the way up to a 1000 series. So as long as it has a Fendt 1 cab and is Profi Plus, you could retrofit it in.
Okay, so our 1038 it would work in then.
Sure would, yep.
Okay. So with this having a steering wheel and the joystick, how does that work together? I mean, is this the master switch basically? I mean,
yeah.
As long as if this is down, we're still able to steer with the steering wheel?
Yeah, good point. Pretty harmonious, right? So you could flip down the armrest, you can use that to steer. If at any point you want to grab the steering wheel and take over, you can do that as well.
Okay. Can you drive with this up?
You sure can, yep.
Okay.
So there's no switch or anything like that. It doesn't affect anything. Just fold it down and turn your guidance button on to use it.
Okay, so the guidance button's the master switch for
exactly,
the sticks.
the master
okay.
switch for that.
Okay. So so once you get above 16, does that shut off then, like a tractor's?
Yep, so it'll limit your speed. So,
okay.
So once you turn that off, then you can run down the road with the steering wheel.
Okay. All right, well, I appreciate the information.
Yeah, no problem.
Thanks. Pretty neat stuff. I really think that that's going to catch on. We really like it in our combine. I assume that one has Ideal Drive too. I don't know. I haven't talked to anyone that has Ideal Drive and doesn't like it yet. So I think that eventually that'll catch on in some of the tractors for sure. Well, guys, that's it for today. We're gonna call her quits. We're gonna head over to a little after party at the Salford booth, and then we are going to head home, I think. I can do that too.
Oh, hey, you got a thumbprint right there in the middle.
Get it, perfect.
There, now it's
And it's gone.
blurry now.